1, 2, hello. How you doing? Welcome to a new live stream, my friends. Hope you're doing well. Let's see, get that out of the way. So, I got some cool stuff to show you guys. So, wow, where do we start? My name's John Lemcool. This is the live stream for my website, pluginguru.com. I should point you to that website real shortly, just because there is a new library we're going to be playing with and talking about quite a bit today. NoizBox! Yay! NoizBox is here. And what you can do with it is pretty cool. This is one of the patches from the library. This is probably one of the more advanced patches I've ever made. There's over 90 plugins and effects in this single patch. And it also has a rather advanced thing in that on the knob page, on page 2, Shane explained and we figured out and confirmed that we can set up the knob enable disable to be done by the actual knobs instead of by just MIDI controllers, which means I could be inside of Logic and I could still move the knobs to enable and disable, automate it, all that kind of stuff. So now I'm pushing buttons on my little Korg Nano control to go from these, turn those off, turn these on. So I can let things ring out. It's wonderful stuff, wonderful stuff. So let me see, let me get the YouTube, I don't even have the YouTube chat up and running yet. Go to YouTube. Hope you all are doing well. Let's see here. Go to my live stream page. No. Cancel. Push the wrong button and you get asked 5 questions. It's like, no, I don't want to answer those questions. Hello, Kisaka-san. I had a friend in Japan, Kosaka-san. So that's interesting. Let's see here if I go to this, get my camera view to be back to normal. Welcome. I am so glad to see all of you. So we are, Ivar, you write a song every day. Uh-oh. I think I killed the battery in my light. Let's get this light to be over here and be nice and bright. Ah! So bright. But that's what it takes to get these cameras to show proper lighting and stuff. Anyway, welcome. So there's a new library out called NoizBox. And this is a library. I've been working on this on and off for the last 6 months. Cleaning up samples, doing some things, having Taylor work with me to get all of the samples and the MIDI files mapped and all set. So shout out to my assistant Taylor for his help. This is a library that was actually originally created over 20 years ago. Came out in 2001. It came out originally on an audio CD, as well as CD-ROM. Here's my CD-ROM set for Big Bad Beats, which is also available on Unify. And multiple discs. I think there's 3 or 4 discs like this for the different Akai and Roland samplers, right? This is the audio data CD. This is for the Roland CD-ROM sample set. These libraries were $200. In fact, you can go to the ILIO website and still buy these if you have a Roland hardware sampler and you want Skippy's NoizBox or Skippy's Big Bad Beats. $199. You can get them. So it first came out here in 2006. We brought it out through working with Eric and the team at Spectrasonics, we brought them out as part of an Ilio expander set for Stylus RMX. So many of you that own Stylus RMX, if a lot of you can have this already, I hear comments all the time, but this is part of a set for, I think it's $149, something like that, for all 4 libraries. In fact, here, I can go to the website and pop that up so you can see. Ilio expander bundle, here it is. Yeah, $149. Comes with Ethno Techno, which is an incredible library that Eric Persing produced with Bashiri Johnson, who is just one of the more amazing percussionists in our lifetime. His credits are just incredible. Like there's rhythmic playing styrofoam cups that have been recycled and are able to be rhythmic inside of Stylus RMX. Chris O'Brien, a friend of mine that worked a lot with Ilio, did a drum groove library of just raving beats that are super, super cool. And then NoizBox and Big Bad Beats are available for Stylus RMX. So it's $149 for all 4 libraries, and it's a great deal. There's a bonus expander set with additional samples, all sorts of stuff comes with it. So here's the address one more time. It's ilio.com/ilio-expander-bundle, okay? So that is if you want to get these for Stylus RMX. If you want to get it for Unify, you just got to go to plugandgroove.com, and there it is. And we have it on an opening special price until June 13th. So it's normally going to be $49 retail. It's on a discounted price right now until June 13th. And what this library contains is 32 grooves, okay? And each groove, as you can see, is divided into all of the DNA components that make up the groove. In other words, let's call suburbs A. Here's suburbs A. The grooves go from 73 beats per minute all the way up to 145 beats per minute. So here's 145 beats per minute. This library came out in 2001, which is right when the crossover between New Jack Swing, rap kind of stuff like that, and techno was starting to show up in pop mainstream. Oh, am I not showing a screen? Oh, whoops. I had the wrong button pushed inside of OBS. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so starting one more time. I'm explaining this stuff and showing the website and you can't see it. That's silly. Here's the Ilio Expander Bundle page. Thank you, Shane. Thank God for Shane having a direct contact to me because I get sidetracked. And so it's ilio.com/ilio-expander-bundle. That's for the Stylus RMX set. The set for Unify is just plugandgroove.com. And then there's a splash screen right now at the very start here that's Retro Future that you can go to, right? And the library is there for you to purchase. It's a 1.3, I believe, gigabyte download. Let me see, go to the details. Yeah, 1.3 gigabytes download. It's over 2 gigabytes expanded. There are over 13,000 samples. It's a very huge rhythm library, and I'll explain why. So I'm playing this groove Tempest, A, right? And then you see B, simpler. Kind of like how I did the break tweaker libraries where the main C note is a big groove, and then there is C sharp. Here we don't do it that way, but it's different grooves here. Am I not showing the screen? I'm showing the screen. We need a complete drum. Is everything working out okay? You see it? Okay, I want to make sure. Oh, okay. All is well. Okay, good. Okay, so as you can see, B and then C. Hello, Hamadi from Italy. Make a propeller heads recycle compatible sample player. That's a tall order. We'll put in our order with the chef. Okay, and then below this you see these different elements: the hat 1 and 2, kick, loop 1, 2, 3, and snare. These are the components that are used to make this. If we start with a kick, I'm going to right click and I'm going to add to unify the snare. I'm going to add the hi-hat 1, hi-hat 2. Now it says shift plus click. So I'm going to hold down shift and click 1, 2, 3, and there they all are. The mix isn't right, so that's why I made a patch up here at the very top called Tempest. This is all of them, but the mix is right. So it sounds just like A. There's A. The difference is A is a single layer. If I go to the page here and I change the pitch, it's the entire loop. All the elements, all the parts. This is really badass because here, every part, I can go to the snare, go to MIDI box. Let's tune it up. Let's go over here. Let's put a reverb on it. So we say Unify standard reverb. Let's put like M-verb. Now that snare, and I want to go to the different loops. Let's bring up Pump House on these guys. So just these 3 elements have Pump House. I can play with all of the components independently. I could even, let's go to this one. There's a really cool trick. As you see, we have Jitterbox on everything. So if you bring up the random timing, right in here, it's really sweet. You just get a little human interaction. But if you want, there's another really cool trick you can do. Let's solo this part. Go to Jitterbox. If you click right here, you can change the way the jittering works. So instead of just being random timing, it's quantized random timing. So set to 8th notes, set it to simple notes, and I want the minimum timing value to just be 16th notes. And now, this is now on a random path. So because everything is in a component layer like this, you can play with it all you want. You could go to, let's go over here. Let's add noise to this. Let's go to NoizBox, distortion, NoizBox. I love the power curve. Bring it up. And then we're going to limit it to only distort high frequencies. So anything above this frequency, let's put a low pass filter. And let's go to Guru's sampler for this part and bring down the K. So you can play with all the components for all 32. And some of these get to where there's like 11 parts. I mean, this has 10 parts. And you can go to any component. This is my ocarina I played. Those are all real acoustic instruments I played. So you could just use these, like turn this off and then go up here and hold down Option and click to get rid of the kick and snares. And also it's on the keyboard and MIDI box can transpose. So on top of this, it's all tempo independent because it's all, every part of you're hearing in these is chopped up. So I can slow this down to like 80 beats per minute and use this in a really cool R&B context. I mean, the places to take this are insane, truly insane, really, really fun. Now below this, when you get down to where it says loop, this is the same thing. If we go back here and we play, this is Yukon. So if we go to Yukon, right, where's Yukon? Yukon. Why am I not seeing Yukon all of a sudden? It's 129, so 129, here we go. So here it is as loop, which means if I speed up or slow this down, it's transposing the audio file. So the BPM groove stuff is so cool because you can go to Yukon up here, play it, go to pitch, take it up an octave, and it's still playing at the right tempo. So it's really powerful. Take K down, put a pump house on it, bring up reverb on certain parts. So there's 32 grooves that are each treated this way. Go to Silly Putty and right? And down below this, you see all the parts. I think this one has what? 12 parts to this. So if you wanted to, we could just say we want to have the loop, and let's just use shift and click to just quickly click these guys. And just those parts of the groove are in the mix. Really, really fun stuff, okay? So there's over 424 patches that make up the actual core of the library. There's 495 patches total. The patches above that are for the loop versions. And then down here, I made some bonus patches where like, I think they saw me. It's really, really, really fun. In fact, maybe we'll do this for one just so we can play with it together. To go through the library and just add different components to make your own stew, basically, right? Can any of these patches be saved and dragged to a DAW? Well, you can use it inside of Unify in your DAW. So you could do that. You could run it and then bounce it out as audio if you wanted to put it into your DAW. But there's not like a, I mean, the MIDI files can be exported, yes, but. Oh, I love this one. Wow. And then Orbit Dance. This is using the Lost Satellite Loop. Let's see, but it's got random stuff. I might even have like a different MIDI file played by it. There's all sorts of ways to use this because it is a marriage of a MIDI file to a sample map. And so it's kind of cool how you can do all, there's so many fun places to play. I want to point out one thing that I was showing at the beginning. I'm going to circle around to this. This is a patch called Eternity Calling. Well, on top of the drum groove things, I also did some vocoder patches where, just like the factory voicing, but instead inside of the drum groove and a drum kit coming from a MIDI file and a drum kit for the library, these are playing MIDI NoizBox maps. So this is calling up outpost loop, and then this Guru sampler is set to play outpost loop 1. If I change tuning, that changes the sonic energy going into the vocoder. Over here on the right is the synth part that's being vocoded, so I could change to other sounds. Harmonic content is really critical for vocoders, so brighter sounds. And then you have the parameters for the vocoder itself, which are here, or else right? And then here's the drum loop as a second layer. Now, if you want, you could delete this. You could say, oh, let's go over here. I want to play with, let's find one of the loops. Let's see, like Ghost. This is a drum loop that I actually played by myself on a drum kit. So we'll call this up, right? And I'm gonna hold down Control and Options so that I spit it out so that it's by itself. It's no longer nested in a Unify layer. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Now I need to go to Combo Box and I need to go to this MIDI box and change the MIDI file because I want it to play the same loop as what I'm playing over there. So we're gonna go over here, and that was Ghost loop 1. So here's loop 1 mid. And then go to this Guru sampler right here and say Ghost and call it the sample map, loop 1. And now I want MIDI box to not transpose pitch, so I'm going to turn off the note to chorus, and then I could go to another library like Cloud City, find a cool like super unison pulse. That might be fun to play in this. And maybe a BPM bell. I was thinking a bell thing would be cool in here, so let's go down here to the BPM bells. Dancing on the Moon, why not? Cool, start writing, right? It's all about, so fun. So everything works together. It's all synchronized. You can play with it and change the parts. The simple rule is call up the MIDI file that you want, and then you call up the MIDI map, the sample map inside of Guru Sampler so that they're the same, okay? And then off you go. So let's see, we're up here still in NoizBox. There's so much cool stuff here to show you. Lost Satellite is super cool. This has a really cool sample right here. I like, is it sample 2? The wrench, thank you. I picked it up. I'm so glad John does not sell cars. Yes, that's a good quote. I'll have to remember that. Anyway, this is made in Absinthe many, many years ago. Recycled it, chopped it up, and fun stuff. So you have all these parts, and if you want, you can get rid of these parts that are, I call them kind of the color parts that give it its The second kick is the big punchy thing. Let's mute that. Now it's more ready to be used in any key of music that you want. Cool, okay? So this is NoizBox. They're 4 or 8 measures long. Real drums. There's 2 drummers in 2000 that I hired for a session in Los Angeles. Phil Block and Brian Zupnik, who played wonderful grooves. So some of them, not all of them, but a number of the grooves are started based on a real drum loop from a session that I did. And then I added all the additional production to that loop to suss it out and give it a whole cool personality with a lot of extra stuff. So that's the concept for a lot of the library. Other parts of the library are just built totally from scratch, all electronic. It's very light on CPU, yes. I wonder, Spitfire did this converter thing to convert RX2 files to their format. Is this because the RX2 format? Well, no, they just needed it to be, the RX2 is doing a real-time conversion of the samples, and so they just wanted it converted to a format so it's faster to read and not having to go through the format. So they use the, you can sign up as a developer for a license, I believe, for the RX2 library. I don't know how they're doing that anymore because I don't know how much the Recycle in Reason Studios marriage goes, but I love Recycle. In fact, I had to use Recycle on a handful of these loops to redo them because they weren't good enough. There's tools I have now. I was going to show you this. Check this out. This is just an example of one of the loops inside of the library. Like if we play from measure 3 here, you know that clicking? I was able to get rid of that because of new software. RX from iZotope was able to, let's see, go big boy. I'm gonna type in up here, it's faster. Big boy. This is loop 1, and now, totally clean. Put it down low. These audio clicks and stuff are so hard to find, and I literally have spent probably close to 2,000 hours editing the samples over the last 20 years for this library a couple of times to clean it up. Because anytime you're taking an audio file that's got all the reverb and the delay and all this stuff going on, and then you try to chop that up in Recycle, Recycle doesn't treat you very nicely. It will spit out all sorts of weird artifacts. Here's another example. Here's a tambourine that you hear this clicking. Can you hear it? Here, I'll play you the version where it's no longer there, and you tell me if you can hear a difference. Much, much better. There's still actually a click or two every here and there, but it's so much better than it was. So using sample editing tools like RX and Recycle and all the other sample editing tools that I have at my disposal, this is the best version of NoizBox yet. Hey, Daniel, let's stay on topic with our discussions, please. If you don't have anything to talk about with what we're doing today, let's not talk, okay? Because I don't want Shane having to just reply to you the whole time. That would be appreciated. Thank you. All right, so here's Secret Agent. 12 layers. I love all the little bonus loopy stuff. Crash cymbal, really cool chime-in crash with effects on it. Okay. Stun gun. All this kind of stuff. And again, you have the A mix, which is what you just... Check this out, how much better it sounds when you're playing it as separate components. Clarity of every part is better because here I'm using Recycle to chop up an entire just stereo mix. So here the transient of the kick is missing. Right, compared to hear how clear the kick is. So it's really fun to play with these all of the layers together in a single patch like this type of a concept. So you can go all sorts of cool places. There is one thing I wanted to point out down here in the bonus stuff. There is Eternity Calling. Like I said, this is 90 effects and audio effects and instruments combined. There's Combo Box for a vocoder setup. There's a really cool Celestial Dreams, which is a patch from the standard library. Yukon Groove drum elements, they're all here. And on the second page, I have set up 4 layers knobs to actually turn on and off. See how by moving this knob, it grays out this layer. And you do that by using this command right here. Unify/MIDI enable / and then 1 being what layer you want it to enable disable. I could have had this just be a linear like this. It's just right here at the 50% mark. It's going to go from on to off. And what this means is that I can play and then I can use these knobs to turn off 3 parts. They're not off yet. Next time you play notes, it will update what it's supposed to play. Right? So you can slowly build up tracks. It's really fun to use this for building up a live song. All right, ready? Turn them all back on. Oh, and I'm not showing my MIDI keyboard. Let's see, go over here. There we got it back. Okay. So this is something I wasn't aware we could do until just recently. And with 1.4, we have the ability to do this by a hardware controller, right? When I push here, I can turn on and off these layers from a hardware controller. You can also set it up so that you can do this with knobs, which is really, really nice and handy. So if you want to, you can copy, go over here, say copy knob, and then go to any patch that you want. Say we go to, let's go to standard library. So we find something that might have a couple parts, right? This has this part and then this big part. So I could go over here to, oh wow, that's weird. Let me call this pad up again. Oh, we'll have to look at that. It seems to maybe have in its buffer from the past patch or something. I don't know. But if you go here and you say paste knob number 2, I have now made it so that knob now is turning on and off layer 1 in this patch. So now I can. Isn't that cool? Then go right here, turn back on 1. Right? And if this doesn't exist, you can actually do this. Check this out. Go to link parameters, double click, copy. So you're copying this text. And let's go over here to macro knob 3. And I'm going to set this up to mute layer 2. So you first need to make what's called just any assignment, just mix level, whatever you want. Then double click this and you can paste to put in the text that I copied. And just change from 1 to 2 for layer 2. And now this is set up so that this knob will turn off layer 2. So by using these commands, you could set up as many of the knobs to turn off layers as you want. And now you can automate that, okay? So that kind of capability is really, really fun. Because when you're working in a DAW, we should talk about this for a minute. I've had questions about this. When you're working with Unify in a DAW situation like this, and you go to look at the parameters for Unify, you're going to see nothing but the macro knobs, because that's what we're reporting as a plugin into your DAW, is the macro knobs. So that means anything you want to change sonic-wise to the patch, you need to set up and assign it to the knobs. The reason for that is because you could have 6, whatever number of instruments here. We don't know how to report each of those instruments individually out and have it dynamically changing on a patch by patch basis. We don't know how to do that. We haven't like dug into the research to implement that. But we do have the knobs. So by adding this to the knobs, we don't report the names on the knobs, just macro 1 through 32. So you have to keep track of that a little bit. If these all had names without numbers, then it gets a little tricky to see what the numbers are, because there's just 4. You have to look over here to your 4-layer thing. But this is how you automate. If I wanted to automate that, then that just means I'm gonna well, I don't have Logic set up to do that because well, here, let's do it, and we can do it here. So go here. Here's Unify inside of Logic instead of running standalone, right? So we can go over here to let's play Signs of Life. What the heck, for a second. So we say we have an ARP, right? Now, Omnisphere is also one of these that has the requirements of reporting parameters before you can automate them. So say there's nothing with filters on here. Let's see, if we go to the effects. Let's say we want to automate this, right? So if you right click, say enable host automation, that makes that show up inside of Omnisphere. Now I need to connect that to Unify because it's inside of Unify, right? So I go to here, let's go to link parameters, instrument Omnisphere, and now you see that shows up in the list to be automatable. So now, so I assign that to knob 4. And now I can sequence it inside of Logic because I've now connected that plugin to a knob and that knob, so I can then go, you know, so it's playing that back. Go to the automation page here for Unify, and I set that up to macro knob 4. So if I click and I say start low, and then I have it slowly go up, I am now automating. Here we can actually watch it happen. If we go over to macro knobs, shrink this short, put it down like this, and here you'll see now that as it plays, it's automating the knob, and that knob is assigned to my DAW parameters for automation. So the connection is that you need to connect the parameters of whatever plugins you have loaded to the knobs, And then those knobs show up and are able to be reported as macro 4 inside of your DAW for automation. And now you can automate anything you want. So it's possible to do anything you want to do in that regards. But Unify itself, because it can contain all of the different plugins that you own, we haven't figured out, I should say, technically, we haven't put the time in doing the research to know how to implement that. That's a pretty big order. And so we've been busy doing other things, as you know, inside of Unify beyond that, right? So that is how you get automating in your DAW inside of Unify to work. I've wanted to cover that a little bit. So that hopefully clears that up, okay? Any questions you might have in the chat about what we're doing? Like macros, yeah, automating the macros with LFOs is actually something I want Unify to do by itself one of these days. So we'll be doing stuff like that in the future. I'm gonna take a little site. Thanks for showing the layers to knobs to DAW. Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. I'm gonna show you an effect. Two things to point out. In other plugin news, there is a sale going on right now for Nave from Waldorf. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this synth, but it is a really unique synth. Waldorf, as you know, makes really, really, really cool. Their hardware synths are incredible. PPG back in the day, anybody, right? Nave is really cool, and it's 75% off with a promo code. And I don't know if, did I put the promo code into the chat here or not? Let's see here. Yes, the promo code is in the video description. It's only good until May 25th. So I'm not going to put it into the chat. You'll have to see it in the video description, and it's only good until May 25th. So if you've wanted to have, Nave first came out on iOS, iPad devices. It's now available as a plugin. I don't know if you know that or not, but it is. Here's the page for it, waldorfmusic.com, and you'll find it under their software. It's wavetable based, but it's really unique. And there's a couple specific things that I especially love about this. It has an Uber wave, which is really cool. Right here's your mixer. I don't think there's the Os. Yes, so it's the Os wave. You can turn off wave in 2 and just have the Uber wave. I thought there's a way to change it to be different waveforms, but yeah, here we go. Really nice unison, which you can have in combination with, and you can click and drag to see the wavetable in 3D. Right? There's 2 different waveforms to work with. The patches are really cool. It's got a sound that you're not gonna say, oh, I've heard that somewhere else. There's a lot of sounds where it's like, let me find an attacky sound. Let's see here. If we go to lead. As you can see, 7 skies. I especially love on effect 2, the reverb is super beautiful. Super cool. This has a really unique color to it. I've actually I'm working on libraries using this as a sound source for some of the samples. So it's a unique sounding instrument. If you want something new, it's not a cheap plugin. I believe its retail is like $155 or so. So to have it at a 75% off discount actually makes a pretty big difference in a case like this. You go to the shop page and you'll see it there that you can go to and see Nave. And I think it pops up at what? It's like, yeah, 156 euros is its retail. If you use that promo code that's inside of the video description, you'll save 75%. So if you've wanted to pick up, Waldorf synths are very different than everybody else. The envelopes are super snappy. It's just, I can't speak highly enough about how cool this is. I've had it on my iPad for a very long time. That's a really cool thing. So I want to make you aware of that. Also, I'm going to show you a really cool effect that has just come out from our friends from Devious Machines. I bought their everything bundle a little while ago. Let's see. Let's find something like maybe Razor Blade. And I showed you, if we go here to all the audio effects to Devious Machines, they have such things as texture, which can put a texture. If we go through some of the patches and factory presets, let's see, for percussion. It's adding a tambourine to a drum group. That's without it. So based on the signal, it's got really cool envelope following. Stuff like that for gongs, drums, kick processors, percussive layers, drum replace. They can do all sorts of replace, attack enhancers. Anyway, so they have stuff like this, right? They can add textures to pads and to sounds and so forth. They have a new effect called Infiltrator. Just love the name, Infiltrator. Devious Machines Infiltrator. This is 10 effects simultaneously that each have their own cycle, their own LFO. There's a sequencer that you can then turn on and off so that it enables and it disables each of those 10 effects at different times to pop on. So you can get just let's go for the blow your mind to start with. What was the one I was playing with? Like, let's do fireworks. So let's do this. Here it is without. Here it is with. This is crazy. It's still doing just a one major cycle thing, which kind of bugs me. They aren't going beyond that really for the most part, except for you can turn parts on and off, but still, what it does is really, really cool. Let me see if I find a knit. Let me show you real quickly how it works. You just click one, and then you choose what effect you want. There's like 28 to choose from. 4 different types of filters. So you could say model 20. Right, so you got cool filter cutoff. Up here is your enveloping for the kind of the LFO tool style. And here's your intensity for that. Here's your offset. And if you double click, you can change these around. So I got a filter. That's one effect. Let's go over here to number 2 effect. It could be a different filter or FM. And they have random, so if you want to just like quickly 3, let's have this be a decimator. Right? So I've got 3 different effects going crazy. Then I can turn on the sequencer and I can say I want only the first effect for the first 2 measures, and then I want these effects for the other 2 measures. So I can pick and choose when I want certain ones to go from a list of 10 effects. So it gets crazy. You've got reverb and all sorts of stuff to play with. So if you need something to mangle beats and audio and do all sorts of things, either subtle or like just reinventing the wheel, a lot of these that are sequenced are just like, you know, edits and fills, like you know, simple for the first part. So crazy stuff, fun stuff. There's Stutter. You can set it up to MIDI, which means that the effects then are triggered by playing notes on your keyboard, which is cool. There's all sorts of different ways to work with it and use it. You've got macros that you can set up by just, if you click the little bullet here, then you can go to the different effects and assign the parameters to change by a macro knob. So lots of capabilities, right? So check out Infiltrator. Their website is Devious Machines. Let's go. Devious Machines. And here is Infiltrator, so you can check it out. It just came out. This is not an inexpensive plugin, I will tell you. They did a lot of research. To do a graphic interface like that takes a lot of time and money, I will tell you. So it's $97 right now. Its retail is $141. So different, interesting, not your normal numbers. Little strategy there going on. You can download a demo to try it out. Highly recommended for stuff like this. And it's great to use inside of with NoizBox because rhythm beat mangling is a perfect time to have a new drum loop library come out. So you can take this, add Infiltrator to it, and go crazy, you know? Yeah, good stuff. Let's see, what are you guys talking about for chaos? Better than Loop Raider. Yeah, it's a little bit like an LFO tool and Looperator, which is a Sugar Bytes effect thing, had a baby. That's a good way to describe it. Because you have the LFO tool waveform kind of a thing, and then all sorts of different effects. And again, you can set it up so that you play and trigger the effects from MIDI. So you can sequence when you want things to come in and off. It's just, there's stuff that bugs me a little bit about it. They could have taken it in some other ways to make it a little more flexible. But it is definitely a next step in the multi-effect kind of a thing. I would say Stutter Edit 2 is getting into this territory too, and can go even more insane sonically with all of the stuff it can do for the chopping and the speed up, slow down things and so forth. I would download demos of both Stutter Edit 2 from iZotope and Infiltrator. Play with them. I think Infiltrator is a little bit easier to get into, to configure and work with, stuff like that. But that category of sounds is just interesting. Okay, so Daniela still is going crazy. Cool. Hey, so do you guys have questions about what we've looked at? This is probably the last live stream for 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to be taking some travel time to go spend some time actually in another country, building libraries there. I also have something I can show you that I'm working on that will be coming out later on in June. Let's do this real quick. I'm going to use Logic, speed it up. Let's say 110 beats per minute. This is what's really fun with this library, is to just go through it. I have a loop, so that means we need kicks. So go to something like maybe Brother and go kick. And let's add another kick. And have strut kick. I'm going to Mexico, to San Miguel de Allende. It's a workcation. The woman that created Creature-esque is a dear friend of mine for 30 years, and she has a really nice house there with multiple floors. I'm flying my daughter from San Francisco to spend time, and I'm going to be recording her singing for Creature-esque Volume 2. We're going to make that while I'm there, and she's setting up some gigs with a whole bunch of different musicians. So I'm going to be recording instruments to make a San Miguel acoustic library with accordions and guitars and clarinets and all sorts of things. Who knows what we'll get. Let me show you this. This is my portable recording rig. This is the Tascam DR40X. It does 4 tracks of audio, 24-bit, 96 kilohertz. It's not 32-bit audio. There's actually, I've had somebody whisper in my ear to wait until July for the handheld, like, oh my God, that's going to be coming. So I'm waiting, but this is like under $200 for 4-track audio. And what's cool with this is it has built-in microphones that can go into different patterns if you want to use it in different patterns. But it also has inputs that can be plugged in and used at the same time that you're recording with these microphones. So I'm going to have this set up. This is a Rode. This is the MCTL5 or something like that. Let's see. Let's see if I have the one. This is the NTG5 is what it's called. It's a really, really incredible. This is used for a ton of film for the big boom mic and stuff like that. But this will be able to be handheld to be close to the guitars, or put on a mic stand to be close to the guitars, while this records ambience. So I can then have really cool, I want samples that there's enough clean, pristine, beautiful 3,000 samples per note libraries. I could care less about that. So this is more about doing really cool stereo, unique sound. Not surround. Unify doesn't support surround, so there's no reason to do surround. So we'll have stuff like this with me to record Kathy and musical performers and who knows about ambiances, all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, it's a workation. I'm going to be building a couple libraries while I'm there, so it should be really, really fun. Coming out in June, let me show you, I'm working on this library of guitar phrases. And I want to show it to you, and you tell me what you think about this. Let's see, I actually probably should show this to you inside of Unify, because this is a case where you have to have the tempo of the transport set for these loops to work right. If you see what this is, here's a concept. There's I've never met him. There's a distributor, sound designer company in Germany that I have been friends with for probably 3 or 4 years, 2 years at least. And we have talked, he keeps sending me his libraries all the time. And it's really, really quality libraries, really great stuff. Vocals, phrases, audio, it's all audio files, right? And I haven't been able to find the right place for them to be used. And so this is an attempt to see how this works to try this. What it is this is a map of 61 guitar phrases that are, oh, let's see here. I've got to do a little work. So these are set up in a way. Now, if you go to 85, it's calling up these samples. I resampled them at 85 beats per minute. And what you do is this. The phrases are here. And you can go to Guru's sampler and just transpose, or actually choose the samples here, I believe. Let's see, no pitch. Still working on how to present it for you guys. And then you'll have the rest of the keyboard that you can play with, right? Because these are phrases. Oh, I messed up and went to 85 and unpitched still. And then down here I have bass and then a split thing, so you can hit play. To make all these songs from all these 61 different drum phrases. And I have just the guitar phrases here by themselves. So here they are at 65 beats per minute. Same phrase at 110 beats per minute. Which means you could go over here to Cloud City or something, choose some sort of a BPM drum groove, right? Like, let's say Electro, load this, and no change to pitch. Every note on the keyboard Isn't that cool? I was just like, oh, this has to work. Isn't that cool? Every note on the keyboard is a different guitar phrase. So this is like, and what's fun is to hear the phrases change. I use Logic, has a really, really nice liquid audio environment to. Here it is at 100 beats per minute. And 128. No, that's not the right groove. So let's open this up and go. Can you change keys or are they static? No, you can't change keys. That's the risk with this libraries. We don't have a liquid engine in Unify for doing the stuff like I'm doing with NoizBox. I tried to recycle these, but there's so much to the phrasing. Chopping that up and recycle it just loses all of them. So this is an experimental library. There are so many songs. I'll teach you guys about the concept of how to use loops like this, because so many songs, if you listen to the radio, they all have a loop like this, and not all of them, but it's been done quite a bit, where there's a really cool. Then they go to for the verse, and that loop goes away. And instead you're using like keyboards and pianos and stuff like that. And then when it comes back to the chorus, it comes back, right? So that's the idea of this. Every note. I love this one. I think it's just really, 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 really cool. And so what I'm doing is you got the phrases by themselves, and then so far I've made Hydra Bass and EP. So you call this up, you play. It plays the groove, it's got a drum groove. I'll make a whole bunch of drum grooves for these. Around with the chords. You saw how I went to some the substitute chords in there. You will find a lot of these phrases, they're open enough that you can play around and do some stuff. Now, if we go to 100 beats per minute, Kalimbaville, I'm using a different one of the grooves, and here we can do this. Let's say unpitched, and I can just go to any of these I want. And then there'll be a list where I'll have each one of these and what chord progression it is. So this is G minor to C minor, B flat. So for some of you, this will be a chance to like learn chord progressions, right? Because each one of these is a different chord progression. So you get to play it. It's F. Go to the next one. So, this will be coming out in June on my birthday. That's my goal. June 16th is my birthday, and I hope to have this library to you then. So, and the fun thing is like this. Go to NoizBox. Go to any of these grooves. Let's say we go to the B groove. It works. And if I wanted to use this in this context, all I have to do is go over here, turn to latch mode, turn it on, bring down the range so that it doesn't get triggered until you play it in the range up to C1. And there. They work. Everything works. It's nice when everything works. I'll tell you that. So. We've actually, we'll see. I'm asking Shane to figure out if we could have the sample names show up here. We'll see if we can do it, because in the sample names I have, I'll show you some of the let's see, if I go over here and say reveal in Finder. No pressure, Shane. Shane loves it when I do this. But if you go to the Guitar Phrases library and you go to the samples, I have gone through, let's see, samples right here. Everything is named with the chord progressions, so you can see what they are. So if the name could pop up and show you this information, this way I can go to 48 and know that it's going to be giving me, it's in G minor, then it goes to D5. D5 is just a way of describing that you're just playing the first and the fifth with no third. It's very popular in pop music because then you're not committing to being major or minor power chords, basically is what it is. So that, we'll see. We'll see how we kind of develop Unify as we develop libraries. We'll see if we do that or not in this case. So that's what I'm working on. Any questions you guys have? Smith, first part of the stream today. Is NoizBox part of the next Unify version? So good question. Perfect segue. Unify NoizBox is a new library for Unify just released today. It is last night technically, but it's a library of 32 grooves, which actually equals over 420 grooves, because this is a library I did 20 years ago. It's been available for Stylus RMX. It was available originally for Akai, Roland, and Kurzweil hardware samplers. And what's fun with this library is that you have a whole groove, which is, this is 10 parts. Here it is playing all these separate components so that you can solo out just the two kicks. The snares, hi-hats, shaker, and then there's loops and a helicopter. I wanted a helicopter, so kind of needed like the Blade Runner vibe. So you have them as individual stereo chopped up loops. And B is a smaller groove, C, smaller groove, and then all of the components. So if I wanted to play just a shaker, and then down here below all this stuff, when you get to where it says loop, that means these are your audio loops of these loops. So we can go to Tropolis, play it here, and this is a stereo audio file. It's not chopped up. You can't change tempos. When you install this, let me show you real quickly. If you go over here and you open up the NoizBox library for Unify, it comes with a folder with the WAV files in it. Okay, so that way you've got that to work with, to get the WAV files to work. So that way you can use these samples inside of your DAW. But inside of Unify, it has it set up here, the BPM stuff, so that you can control tempo. You've got all sorts of additional things you can do to it that are really, really fun. This is 99. There's, as you can see, there's an awful lot of loops. And so I just did a video walkthrough that's available on the channel just before this video that you can watch to see how it works. There's a ton of tips and tricks in the video. It came out really nice. So I could go over here to the page for the real-time controls. I can change pitch. Let's kill my pad. And it still stays at the same tempo. This is something you can't do if it's an audio loop. You can't, it goes, blah, 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 plays really fast, right? Here. I can also play it on the keyboard. do all sorts of stuff with it. I should also point out, it's really cool at the end of the list. Make sure you get down here. After all the bonus stuff, there's bonus combo patches and stuff like that. All of these things that you hear that have pitch, I tuned them. So I can combine this with VRAM. And if you watched to the end of the video last night that I did, here, I'll try to recreate it. I had some fun. I combined a vocal chop. So let's add. And let's take this up plus 19. Let's put nice big reverb on it. Then go up here to the subs, these sub basses that are just monstrously gonna shake the room. Add that. Then go over here to the vocal chop. It's got reverb, and now we'll put pump house after the reverb. So now we can set this up. Go over here to the preset, and let's choose the sawtooth down, 16th notes, and let's say we want to choose like Home Alone, note pitch shift. Oh, wait, we didn't load right. Let's go up here. Oh, these guys, like New York Love. This would be fun. And let's go to the down tempo. So everything works together. You can layer and stack. And this all started with tuned drum loops inside of Unify. So all of these guys are tuned. There's some really cool. Right? And again, combine with anything else. You can go crazy places. So yay. So thank you for joining and hanging out on this Saturday, wherever you guys are. Yes, I will do some environmental recordings when I'm there, Burn, for sure. Although it's not a really big town, so we'll see how it goes. There you go. Last thing to show, I did a little photography this last couple weeks. I was gonna share a couple photos. Here is one of the photos at one of the waterfalls I took. Fast shutter speed, which is cool. I wanted to go to another waterfall and started on the trail, and they have signs up saying it's a 3rd-degree misdemeanor to continue because it's part of the burn area and things are down and damaged. But I thought this was really interesting, this kind of like juxtaposition of life and then the dead trees. So sad. So you couldn't go any farther. I probably wasn't even supposed to be here, which is fun. I have a really beautiful little dogwood tree in my yard I just bought for myself to have a little dogwood. So I've been taking macro pictures as well as other pictures of it. And there's another library in the works. I'll give you a clue. It will probably be August, September before I get done with this. But yes, that is me, king of kid drum kits, in a garage. And I showed some garage recordings a while back in one of the live streams. So they are coming out sounding really, really great. It's a lot more work to go, but that's also in the works for a future library. So lots of stuff going on. Derek has a question. Let's see here. What is Derek's question? I've got Big Bad Beats for Unify. So in terms of what you're accomplishing with the NoizBox library, what's the biggest difference? Okay, Big Bad Beats, I don't have it here. I should have it here. Let's do this. Let me call it up really quick and add it to the list if I can. Big Bad Beats is the first library that I did of drum loops and recycling and chopping them up and all that kind of stuff. And I hadn't quite figured out, let's see, Big Bad Beat loops. I have beats and vocoders. I thought I had Big Bad Beats down here. Oh, good grief. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, there it is. So libraries. Refresh, it will show up shortly. It wasn't as organized or as separated, and it's a little bit earlier in time, so it's more swingy. Your camera image is gone. Okay. That's because the battery died. I'm using a little Sony here. I could go to a side view, but hold on a second here. Let's go like this, I have batteries right here ready to go for when this happens, because I knew it would happen. It's gonna pop up. Hey, there we go. Oh, it's gonna go to showing that. I also have this view. Hello. From my other Sony camera that I can go to, but I'm not used to looking over there for talking, so it's kind of weird, and the microphone goes away a little bit. Okay, so Big Bad Beats is similar in nature, but it's a little bit different in that here it's like a full mix, and then other full mixes, and then small mixes. Inside of NoizBox, there's only 3. There's a A, B, and C. So here, like, if you go to, you've got the full mix 1 here, right, for Jack Attack, 2, 3, breakdown, right? And it's different. I did it differently for different ones. So when you go to Java, you have full mix 1, full mix 2, full mix 3, small mixes, but you don't have all the elements. You don't have the breakdowns of all of the parts. So for NoizBox, I was more structured, and I wanted it to be where there's an A mix, B mix, bigger mixes too. I got a little bit more carried away. C, and then every element, just a cowbell, just a hi-hat 1, 2, 3. If you combine these all together, you will get this really cool play of 3 different hi-hats that works. You know, they fit together. And then the kicks, there's 2 kicks. I've had a lot of people over the years say they learned drum programming from my libraries, which is kind of cool. So, right? So you can build this up. And then the VRAM right here that doesn't say ABC is all of those elements mixed. So it sounds just like the A mix. Except now, it's all these components, hardly any CPU being used because of how efficient we are. Thank you very much, Shane. Woo! And that's how that gives you all sorts of flexibility beyond Big Bad Beats. Beyond Big Bad Beats, it was beats, but it wasn't really thought of as far as flexibility. And I had a year and I had feedback from people and constructive suggestions for NoizBox. So NoizBox is an evolution in what I would do for a library type of a thing, right? Oh, I'm talking over here. So it was an evolution for what to do. So I hope that makes sense, but they're kind of, it's like a little bit up from each other, you know? Let's see. It's Thursday. I think you will talk about Unify. Well, there is no live stream next week, just so we're clear. This is the last live stream until, all right, Martin, see you later, man. Take care. Yeah, there's no live streams after this until the middle of June, around the 13th or so, about when I get back from the trip. So I think that's going to wrap it up for the day. Shout out to Shane for all the wonderful support, and just I'm so thrilled that we have Unify to work with. Shout out to Shane. I've leveled up my beats. Oh, thank you. I love rhythm. I've been a big fan of rhythm for a long time. So shout out to that, and then shout out from Portland. Gonna go celebrate a friend's birthday party. Happy birthday, Mike Rhett, wherever you are. If you're watching or not, just put that out in the air. But thank you, Shane, as always, for being a wonderful partner to work with. And thank you to all of you for your continued support. We love supporting our customers and pushing the envelope on what we do with our software, and love sharing it with you. So thank you for supporting us while we experiment and try all sorts of cool things. So I'm really excited for that guitar library. Thank you guys for your feedback on the guitar library. Shout out to Danielle and everybody else. Les, Nico, David, and Scotland. Oh my gosh, I love Scotland. David, all you guys everywhere. It's so cool. I love how we are just a global thing. Dominique in Paris. Shout out to you, my friend. I'll be in Paris one of these days. I don't want to come. All right. And thank you. Yeah, we'll have fun in Mexico. I don't think I can live stream from there. I'm going to see if I can or not. But I tried to do a live stream from Santa Barbara last year, and it didn't go very well. So I don't think I'm going to try to do that. It's best just to like, you know, not walk around with pie on your face. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, cheers to you all. Enjoy the libraries. Don't forget Sabrify is out. Incredible library. There's so many unified libraries. Make sure if you have Unify, go here to right here to the Unify page. You have to go here, scroll down the list. These are all the plugins that have Unify patches. So if you own any of these, we just added TAL J8, TAL U-No-LX, impOSCar 2, Chromaphone 3. All of these have Unify patches. And what that means is that by downloading this, you get a .guru file. You can go over to the little tiny little tool things, say select a guru file. Or if you have an OS where you can just drag it into the interface of Unify. And what that means is now I have these unified libraries. So I could go TAL U-No-LX, and I could go to the basses, and I could say, give me this bass. And then I could go over here to Zebra, and I could say, I want this bass. And I want maxi bass. And then I want something from Vengeance, because I know that's got some crazy basses in here. So go bass, distorted, add that. Takes it a second to go. Oh, Avenger, where's that? When you add 4, I would suggest holding down Option to turn down the volume by about 7 dB. So I've made a bass sound from 4 different synthesizers in about 15 seconds. And so by adding the unified libraries to everything else that you have going on, it just opens up all of these places that you can add sounds. I could now go to Signs of Life, which is an Omnisphere library that we sell that now has unified patches. And I could say, add very moody morning into it as well. And okay, Omnisphere, oh, give me a second. Has to find the source code and stuff. Now we have a bass that will rip the hair off your head. So that's why the unified concept is so powerful. It's very similar to the NKS, except it's faster. You can layer things so much quicker. It doesn't have to reload each plugin every time. If I want to add another Omnisphere library, I could say add it, and boom, it's there. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. When you get into rhythmic stuff, it's just disgustingly cool how fun it is. Get to the BPM categories and call up something that you like from one synth. Find BPM synths and stuff from another synth, and all of a sudden you get into just really cool. And if it's not the right one, then just open up that Unify layer. You go over here to Omnisphere to Omnipulse. Vintage Vision. And you have the whole strong melody. All you need is a cool groove and a bass and your song's done. And it's all synced. Just works wonderfully. So that's a gift to you guys, to make sure that you go to the Unify page, look down the list, and make sure that any of the synth that you have, you've got the unified version of the patches for it. Okay? So it just opens up all sorts of really fun doors to what you can do with your, you have all these plugins, right? Here's the place to play with them. So there you go. All right. A random button like Omnisphere would be great. Well, random doesn't work in that case just because you're talking about all these different plugins. I mean, maybe a random for calling up the different patches, but then you have to put in like parameters for like, I just want BPM synths or something like that. It's more fun just to go down the list and right click to add, you know? Everyone wants random. How about Oberhausen? That one is in the works, actually, I believe. So probably when I get back from my trip, we'll try to get some more unified libraries going. I don't know if I'm going to try to do that while I'm not here. But anyway, we'll wrap up now. Thank you for your time, for joining. It's so fun to see you all. Thank you for support. You're over here. And we will see you when we get back. But be safe, be creative, have fun. Okay? See you later.